viernes. ¡Ah! 126 centímetros cúbicos, coma 96. ¿Para qué vino? ¿Para qué vino al hospital? Vale.
Hello, I'm looking for Anne Shepard's room.
La mamá.
Please sign the visitor's book. Are you a member of the family?
Yeah, you could say that.
Oh, she'll be pleased to have a visitor. No one ever comes to see her. With the Alzheimer's, she has trouble remembering things, but it'll still please her, you know. It's
La
room 19 at the
puta
end of the corridor.
madre.
Thank you.
En todos los juegos de... ¿Cómo se llama esta empresa? No sé. Pero como de Beyond Two Soul, boludo. Pero a mí me cagaron mal.
John Shepard died 30 years ago. Hope his mother has all the answers to this puzzle. Room 19. Where is that?
Es acá. Siempre planos al orto. O sea,
Hello, Mrs. Shepard.
Is it time for my pills already?
No, Mrs. Shepard,
They're never on time with my pills. I don't know what they do here. In the other hospital, they were always on time. But here...
My name is Madison Page. I'm a journalist. I'd like to ask you some questions about your son.
I don't like this hospital. The food isn't very good, you know.
bueno.
Your other son, Mrs. Shepard, John's twin brother. What was his name?
What other son? I have no other son. I never had any children.
Try to remember, Mrs. Shepard. John's twin brother was placed with a foster family after the accident. What was the name of the foster family?
I asked them for a television, you know. They said I didn't have enough money. It's a pity. I'm fond of television.
Puta madre.
You had a son named John, and John had a twin brother.
Do you have my pills? It's time for my pills.
Mrs. Shepard, your son may be linked to a series of murders. Perhaps you have some information that could help the investigation.
Are you a new nurse? Where are my pills?
Do you remember John?
My Johnny. He is a good little boy, you know.
I know what happened at Carnaby Square. Do you remember?
Carnaby Square. I think I used to live there a long time ago. We didn't have much money at the time, you know. We had to make do with very little.
I think your son is in trouble, Mrs. Shepard. He's done some terrible things. I need to find him. Do you understand?
Terrible things you're telling me. He never came to see me, can you believe it? In 10 years, never. No one forgets their mother, do they?
¿Verdad?
You don't seem to get many flowers, Mrs. Shepard.
No, but I love them. My son knows that I love flowers. I know he'll bring me some.
Vamos a traerle flores.
Does Mrs. Shepherd ever talk about her past?
It's not all very clear to her now. Sometimes she'll remember the oddest things, though. I suppose if she sees something that reminds her of her past.
Did she ever mention her sons?
Sons? Well, she often mentions John. I think he drowned.
Does she ever talk about her other son?
I didn't know she had another one. I've never heard her mention it.
I'm looking for her other son. He was adopted. I mean, he's probably changed his name. Is there any official documentation on Mrs. Shepherd?
No, there's nothing really. Nothing about her family. I guess if her son was adopted, then she's the only one who could tell you about that. Sometimes, if you show her things, it seems to trigger a memory from her past. You might get it to remember.
Thanks for the advice.
What a lovely orchid. My sons loved orchids. We used to grow them in the back. When John died, I laid orchids on his grave.
Are these your children, Mrs. Shepherd? John and his brother? Is that them?
They're good little boys. Their father never looked after them, always drinking. They didn't have an easy life, you know.
Her memory is coming back. Don't stop now. Just remember.
Origami.
I love origami, but that's not my favorite one.
Ah, ya sé cuál es la favorita. Ay, no. No. Puede ser esa. No. Ah, entonces es la del perro. Porque estaba en la tumba del hijo. Ah, pero recién estaban desapareciendo. A ver, creo que hay que hacer dos para que desaparezca uno. Ay, ¿qué pasó? Se quedó. What the fuck? Maldito joystick del diablo, me cago. Ay, solté la concha. Me estafaron, me estafaron. Ay, tengo que soltar. Ay, porque solté el cuadrado. Oh, sí, re tonto. Ahora sí, ahora sí. Para abajo. Bien para abajo L1. Bien para allá con L1. Soltamos L1 cuadrado. Para abajo. Soltamos cuadrado de R1. Seguimos con el R1. Soltamos, listo, ya
Oh,
está.
you know how to do these little dogs too. My children loved origami. I taught them how to do it. John loved the little dogs. He always wanted to call them Max. Max, Max, Max. All dogs with the same name. I was wasting my time telling him they couldn't all have the same name. But he always wanted his paper dogs Max. It's funny, isn't it?
Max. ¿Por qué todos eran Max?
I cried when they told me. I'd already lost one of my children, and now they were taking away another one, you understand.
The foster family, Mrs. Shepherd. What was the name of the foster family that adopted John's brother?
They were really very nice people. I met them, you know. In the beginning, I used to go and see my little boy. And then I got sick and I couldn't go any longer. Perhaps he thought I'd forgotten him. He must have thought I didn't love him anymore.
His name, Mrs. Shepherd. What was his name?
But I loved him. If you only knew how much I missed him.
Please, Anne. His name. What was his name?
Come closer.
No. ¿Qué? Ethan, guacho, pero ¿por qué no dijeron? No, re fuerte. No. Las últimas letras. 961, 129 centímetros cúbicos, que es esta dirección. Mira, ¿dónde venimos? Mira lo que es eso. Bueno, vamos a dejar de cagar la cinematografía y podemos caminar. Por Dios, por Dios. Va muy lento, muy lento. Tema. Ay, al fin te llamo.
The last trial. The last question. Are you prepared to give your life to save your sons? There is a deadly poison in this vial. It will kill you in exactly 60 minutes. If you drink it, you will get the last letters of the address. You will have enough time to save your son and say goodbye to him, but then you will die. You can drink the vial or decide to leave. The choice is yours.
Hay que hacerlo. Yo hacía algo así. La miro bien.
letters have been sent to your phone.
I did what I had to, Sean. Your dad's coming to save you.
Ah, directamente ya pasamos a otro. Gente, ¿qué opinan? ¿Se fragmenta el vídeo o no se fragmenta el vídeo? Trial Master. Estoy ganando banda de trofeos. Y encima esto está tardando un montón. Esta es como la misión final.